Okay, hello.
Hello.
Welcome, guys, to episode 42 of Hello Hello the podcast with me, one side of your host, Raammo, and the lovely Jenz, as always. Welcome.
Hi. How's it going?
Now, you know what? I'm not so bad. I am quite drained.
Mm,
I don't know if you've realized, but I have been like offline for like the past week
you
and a half,
have.
almost. Yeah, I have nothing interesting to say, because I have not played any new games. I have not
Mm-hmm.
started any new TV shows. I have done practically nothing but study, for the past like 2 weeks straight, almost. Um, last night was actually the first time in basically, like I said, 2 weeks that I have actually played any games, and I only played 2 rounds of Siege, like 2 games of Siege.
Yeah,
That was
right.
it. Um,
Oh, wow.
so it was very little. So I have missed it a lot. But it's yeah. Enough about that. What have you been up to, Jens, for the past week or so since we last talked?
What have I been up to? I don't know. It feels like I haven't done anything either. I probably
Yeah,
haven't,
I feel like
actually.
I think we're just both in that like weird lull between
Hmm.
like now and like the Christmas period and the holiday period where like all the new stuff starts to come out, like
Yeah.
there's nothing crazy that has come out. Although we are both very excited for Unpacking, which is coming out next week. Actually, I saw this morning. I think
Oh,
they're a
that's
week
next
away
week.
from
Okay.
release. So next week, Thursday, I think it comes out off the top of my head.
Yeah, nice.
Um, I'm very excited to get my mitts on that. And Hula told me as well that it's actually going to be on Game Pass as well.
Oh, that's great.
And I was like, that's incredible. So, very, very happy for the Unpacking team.
Mm.
Very excited for that. But yeah, no, I think we're just both in this weird lull.
Yeah, I think
It's yeah.
we've had a busy week. Um,
Oh, for sure.
and
Yeah.
yeah, it's just nothingness.
It's all hitting at once. It's just all
Yeah.
hitting at once.
um,
Anyway,
News?
I was gonna say, yeah, let's just jump straight in the news because, like I said, we don't have anything too crazy to talk about from our personal stuff this week. But
No.
starting off, Jens, one thing that is quite interesting, Battlefield 2042, one of our most anticipated games of this year, funnily enough, that is coming out very shortly. So
Yeah.
we'll hopefully be out of our lull by the time this does come out. But yeah, they made an announcement this morning. EA and DICE made an announcement that they are introducing the first non-binary character to the series. So like I said, it is a first for the series, practically in most of the Battlefield games, and the Call of Duty games for that matter too. They have pretty much just always been your macho man army type dudes. You're uh, very typical protagonist.
Yeah,
In
very
most of these games, I
generic.
would feel.
Yeah.
It's yeah, they're all from the same sort of color palette, and they all just all do the exact same thing. They're just there to be the most doodly dude possible.
Exactly.
Um, so it's quite refreshing. The character is Emma Sundance Rosier, is her name. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. And she's going to be one of the playable specialists. And I
There,
know,
by the way, non-binary.
oh, true. Sorry,
Oh,
they
good.
are. Yes. It is making them the first character to identify as such in the whole Battlefield history. So it's going to be quite interesting. It's yeah.
I think it's
How do you
great.
feel about this, Jens?
I think
It's
it's
yeah.
great. But because Battlefield doesn't have a campaign, I don't know how
Mm,
much of Sundance being non-binary is going to be a thing in the game rather than just
yeah.
knowing it from her
Just
their
in the
bio.
bio.
Um
Yeah.
so yeah, that is like the
Yeah.
other part of it. It's like, wow, this is great, but
I get what you mean. It kind of feels like sort of they just tacked it on because they sort of could, because they
yeah.
didn't have to actually develop a whole story behind, their character and whatnot. They were just like, oh, this will be enough brownie points for us to, hit that demographic and sort of please that crowd.
Mm.
Which yeah, like you can say it is a good thing and it is kind
But
of
it
a
is
bit
a
lazy that
start.
they're doing it in this way. But it is. It's a step in the right direction. It's a start. It does sort of help what's the word that I'm looking for? Not
Representation.
promote, but yeah, that's one. Thank you. See what I mean? Like, I'm just out of this. I'm just
Mm-mm-mm.
out of it this week. But yeah, it's good for representation too, and whatnot. It's yeah, it is very
Yeah.
much a step in that direction. So it's yeah, good to see them doing stuff like this. Hopefully they continue it in the future releases. Or if they do, maybe who knows what the future of Battlefield 2042 holds. Like they could do like a story sort of expansion or a story little DLC pocket thing. It wouldn't surprise me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how many people would be after that, but I would definitely be interested myself. Um, because yeah, it's cool that they're putting all these like characters in and they're sort of giving them a little bit of a background, but it would be cool to actually explore it fully, like
Yeah.
or a little bit more than just reading it in the bio, like Jen said,
I guess like
Um,
Siege has done it with Osa.
yeah.
So
Well, Siege used to do it too. Like they stopped doing it after I think year 2 from memory. But like
right.
when you got a new operator, there would be like that little operator video,
Yeah.
which would give you like again just a little bit of background. But it was at least something that you didn't just have to go and read. But yeah, like Jen said, for the last couple of characters, they have actually given them like a little 3-minute story thing, like at the start of a season, which is really cool to see.
Yeah, so I think it's actually a great thing, and we shouldn't be so
Yeah.
negative about it. But
No, we're very nitpicky.
yeah, but I think overall, bravo
Yeah.
on adding
Yeah.
Sundance to the roster.
No, it is. Yeah, it's definitely good.
I know you've been away from games. Have you?
Jens, funny you mentioned that. As soon as I was sitting here reading, watching lunch and reading sort of the things,
Have
just
you
to prepare
gotten an
myself, and
email?
I saw this and I was like, I wonder if I got one, and I did. I opened my email, and funny enough, Anton Castillo, he did email me, just to chat some shit.
Yeah.
He's in my inbox. Jens, do you want to give us a rundown on this story?
Basically, if you have played Far Cry, but are not playing enough, the main protagonist, Anton Castillo, is
Mhm.
there's an image of him staring at you, saying, "It was amusing watching you fail." And he goes on to say, "I wanted to thank you for giving me free reign in Yara. Take it easy and know that Yara is in capable hands," which I think is such a good way of doing it.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I bet it can get annoying to get like
Well, the thing is, where did it go? What inbox did it go to for me?
oh, is it
I
spam?
no, it wasn't spam, but like like it's set to my Uplay account is set to my primary Gmail account, and you know how Gmail like sort of is a bit smart and it
Yes.
automatically like filters things based off like their sort of content, I guess.
Yeah.
Most of my video game related to, emails go to like the promotions section, so it's like
Okay,
I
yeah.
don't get a notification for it. I don't get anything like that. It is just like if you want to read it, you can read it. So I think it went there. But yeah, it's quite ominous. So when I search Ubisoft, it comes from the Far Cry 6. Like that's the sender. It says Far Cry 6, and then the subject is "You disappoint me, Raammo." I was like, oh, gee, all right, oh, jeez. Um, and it is, yeah, it's quite ominous. When you open the email, here is just staring at you,
That's so
like
funny.
just taking a look. And they've done it quite well. After the little blurb that Jen said is on the screen, like Yara's in capable hands and all that. He goes, surely you can do better than this. And it has some statistics that I have,
Yeah.
accumulated in the game. So like it says, I've only played 5 hours. I've got 168 kills. 58 of them were stealth kills. Stuff like that. Yeah, it's cool. It's nothing crazy. It probably
No.
didn't take them too much effort to even set this up and whatnot. But it sort of helps to, I guess, invest you in the game and sort of like really immerse you, because it is like the protagonist is, he's basically taunting you,
Yeah.
like they're like, hey, you're not doing a very good job with this gaming thing, man. Like, but it's cool, I'm down for it. I
Yeah.
wish sort of more games did stuff like this, especially the statistic things too. Like I again, going back to Siege,
Mm.
do you remember
Oh
when
yeah,
this last season just ended, like a week or two after, they all emailed us like these were some of your best
I
moments throughout
love
the
that.
season, and they had like little clips and they had like overall statistics. I was like, that's really cool, like it's yeah. And again, it probably didn't take them too much effort to have to set that all up
No,
because they're already tracking all the statistics on the back end anyway. So it's like
yeah,
it wouldn't have taken too long, but
that was really cool. Could you
yeah,
imagine
it
like
was.
getting an email from Tom Nook being like, "Where the fuck is my
Oh,
money?"
bro, that would be terrifying.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Like he's scary enough as it is
I know,
sometimes
I
when you go to him. He's
know.
like, "Hey, you got them bills," and I'm like, "Whoa!" But yeah, that would be terrifying. I think. Um, you know what? Having said that, he could start doing that. The new update is just around the
Probably.
corner, so like they might have worked something sneaky in to sort of scare some of the kids that are playing it. So
That'd be really funny.
it would be amusing. Nintendo, you can have that idea, I guess, if you want.
You're
You
welcome.
could do that. That's cool. Yeah. Um, moving on though, Jens.
Mm.
One thing that's very exciting, sort of every year for a lot of gamers, specifically PC gamers, I might have to add for this, but is the Steam sales that we get every year, or just sort of any sale that you'll get. But mostly the Steam sales because they're like the biggest and sort of most expansive of them all. Um, in the past, typically we've had to rely on leaks and rumors and like past dates and things like that to speculate when these Steam sales are going to occur.
Hmm.
Because Valve typically doesn't publish them until like a week or so before they actually start. Um, so you never really know when it's going to officially start. You just sort of have to guess and hope and you know
Yo, just wait it out
you know,
and
it just waited out, yeah. This year though, Steam's taken some initiative and Valve's taken some initiative, and they've just announced it. They've just been like, these are the dates.
yeah.
So the Steam Autumn sale, and they're going to be a bit weird, obviously for the people that are listening anywhere that's not North America. The seasons are going to be quite different because obviously we're all in different places around the world. But the Steam Autumn sale will be from November 24th to the 30th this year, and then the Steam Winter sale will be from December 22nd until January 5th. So that's going to be the biggest one, I'm assuming,
Hmm.
because it's going to, trying to hit the holiday season and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But they're not too far behind each other, like November 24th to the 30th, that's just a month away now. And then you wait another month and you have another sale again.
Yeah.
Um, they're right behind each other, which is kind of cool. Um, but I'm really happy Valve did this because you just think you're like, okay, it's coming up to the end of the year. I know the Steam Winter Sale happens, sometime around this year,
Mm.
but I don't know exactly when it's going to start. What that then causes is like I'm going to sit there and be like, oh, I really want this game, but I really want to wait for it to come on sale. Um, do I wait for the Steam sale or do I try and find it elsewhere cheaper and
Hmm.
not give my money to Steam and Valve, And I feel like that's why they have decided to announce it this time is because they want people to know when it's happening so they can wait and spend their money with Valve and with Steam,
Yeah.
rather than going elsewhere where other sales might already be announced or might be starting and stuff like that. I
Yeah.
feel like that's why they've done this and it is a very smart reason to do such a thing. Um, because there sort of is no downside. Like, what's the point in really keeping a sale secretive? Like, it's not that exciting. It's not as exciting as keeping like a movie trailer secret or
Mm.
something like that. It's literally just a sale. So it's cool they're doing this. I think
Yeah, I
I'm
think
down
it's
for it.
great.
Yeah, but I also can't wait now. So a month, I'll
Yeah.
be out of uni and like that stuff like that. So
Oh
I'll have
yes.
all the free time to use all my summer sale bucks and get some games. um,
um.
Now, Jens, do you want to tell us about this story? Because I feel like this
Mm.
is right up your alley. With the games that you've been playing recently,
Yeah.
I feel like this
True.
is right up your alley.
Have you seen A Quiet Place? Just.
I haven't. I have been meaning to watch it, but I have had countless people tell me you need to watch it with like a really good sound system
Yeah,
or
you
like a
do.
really good sort of like setup. Like, because I watch a lot of my movies these days, like just on Netflix or whatever streaming
Right.
service, like lying in bed on my laptop. Like, I usually don't watch them on TV. Um, And so I feel like A Quiet Place, I have had a lot of people tell me you need to watch it in cinemas because it just
Yeah.
adds to the whole like spectacle of it. Which I can understand, it's yeah.
Yeah. It's amazing at the cinema because it just gets silent and it's
Yeah.
like that
The
eeriness of it.
tension
Yeah.
would be it would be incredible. Yeah. Oh my god.
But anyways, speaking of A Quiet Place, there is going to be a game, which is kind of cool. The publisher
Yeah.
of World War Z, Saber Interactive, is working with developers Illogica and Epitome on a new single-player, story-driven horror game called A Quiet Place. The game will not be directly based on the series, the films, but will tell an original story set in the same universe. So
Yeah.
I think this would be a great concept for a game.
Yeah.
With
noise. It is a really good concept because you think like in like when we've played what is it? The Last of Us and stuff like that. Obviously they're not zombies in that, but they are you could say they're zombies, they're clickers. But it is very much A Quiet Placey in the sense that the clickers, don't have vision. They can't see you. They can only see you based off the noise that you make. So a lot of the time you are relying on stealth and are relying on, being as quiet as you can to navigate through the environment in that sort of game. And so there is sort of already that out there, but it'd be cool to see it done in this sort of universe of the films and stuff like that. And it's cool to see them actually expand this too. I feel like a lot of people, a lot of like production companies these days are quite scared of getting into the spin-off movie video games for very good reason. I might add, because as we all know, like in the past, they have been quite horrendous. A lot of the spin-off movies into video games and vice versa. So, there is a good reason. But I feel like, if you have a really good IP or a really good idea or something like that, and you hire a solid, or you sell the IP or give the IP to a solid development company, there is a really good chance to get like a decent return on investment and like a decent sort of, expansion into that universe. So it'll be cool to see how it turns out. I'd be very interested to see if they do like, because obviously World War Z is quite very much like a horde shooter, so it doesn't lend itself to what I know of A Quiet Place, because I don't feel like there has been much of a horde
No.
thing in any of the films and from what I have seen in the trailers and whatnot. So I'd be interested to see if they use some of that technology, but who knows?
Yeah. I feel like they'll have to shift gears, because the really cool thing about World War Z was like just seeing like a flood of zombies. Like the scale of it was incredible.
Yeah.
But with Quiet Place, I feel like you can't do that.
No. Yeah.
And it wouldn't make sense in like that universe. So
no.
I feel
Because
like
it would be impossible.
Yeah.
It would be impossible to have to navigate anywhere. Like if you had 50,000 of whatever they're called, I don't know what they're called in the Quiet Place, if they're called zombies or if they're called something different. But if you had 50,000 of the zombies, for example, and all of a sudden you step on a branch and then 50,000 of them just pivot to you,
and
like,
then you just guns blazing, it's like it doesn't really make sense.
No.
I feel like there'd just be like a couple, like the big bads that you just have to,
Yeah, exactly.
be really quiet
Deal
around.
with it. Yeah. No, it is very exciting. Hopefully, I guess we don't have a release date or anything like that when it's
No.
going to be like releasing. It does say next year, so it's like it could be anywhere. I'm assuming Q3 or Q4.
Yeah, maybe.
That would be my bet. But yeah, do we know if John Krasinski's going to be in it?
Oh, I wish.
That'd be great, or at least if he lent his voice a little bit to it or something like that.
Or Emily Blunt.
Or Emily Blunt. Yeah, that'd be really cool. But yeah, moving on though, it's cool that we announced that too, because or that we talk about that, I should say, because it is coming up to Halloween, so we are getting a bit spooky. Which does lead us into our next topic, which is a little bit spooky. Phasmophobia, one of our favorite horror sort of games of recent time, Jens. We have played a fair bit of Phasmophobia.
We have.
It's always a good time.
Phasmophobia is made by one person.
Yeah. Well, initially it was made by one person.
Oh, did
when
they
when we
expand?
last played it? Yeah, when we last played it, I checked some of the dev blogs that they post on Steam. Like every time they release an update, you have the option to like post a little dev blog to say like, hey, this is what the update entails, like this sort of stuff. And one of them from like a couple of months before the update was, hey, I have expanded from a team of 1 to a team of 3 or 4, I think.
Still really
So
small.
it is still a very small, yeah, little development team, but he said he did expand and get a couple of people with the success of the game. So I was like, you know what? Good on him. That's
Mm,
it's cool to see him sort of double down again on Phasmophobia and keep updating it and keep providing content for it and all that sort of stuff
yeah.
too.
It's
A lot of
doing
the times
really well.
these it's doing exceptionally well. For what it is as well, it's doing real good. But typically, like you see with these like one man development teams, they usually release their game, their indie
Mm,
game, and then like they go, okay, I'm done. I can't keep up. I can't do any if it gets
yeah.
success. And the only things they ever update are like little patches to fix bugs or quirks and all that sort of stuff. It's quite rare that you get new content so frequently and so fast, I should say. So it's cool to see them, you know, I guess trying to keep up with the pace of the game. Which in and of itself is quite a feat too, because the game
Mhm.
is just getting more and more popular by the day, I feel.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, moving on though, Jens, this update is called the Nightmare Update and is coming out just in time for Halloween. So, get excited. It is going to bring us the game's first ever outdoor map. A bunch of new ghost types, and it's going to tweak some of the difficulty levels that, includes this new nightmare mode. For players that are seeking like a really intense, sort of gameplay experience.
That's gonna be
Um,
hard.
which yeah is going to be quite hard because we have tried it. I wonder how they're going to balance it too, though, because we could consider ourselves sort of phasmophobia experts to some degree. Like we have played a fair bit of the game that we
Mm,
know our way around. We know how to sort of summon the ghouls and ghosts and all that sort of stuff. We know how to like figure out where uh the fuse switch and stuff like that is. Like
yeah.
it's not rocket science. And we did decide to play uh all the maps that we could on the next highest difficulty, but we did struggle to
It was
actually
hard.
summon the ghosts in a couple of them. I'm not sure if it was just because it was bugged or if they just turn like the spawn rate down quite low on
Mm.
that to really make you work for it. But yeah, we struggled to even get him to spawn a lot of the time. So it's I wonder if this is going to help trying to alleviate that a little bit or what it might do. But cool to see them add in get like a harder mode for the more dedicated players that have played it a lot nonstop. Um, but yeah, moving on to a little bit about the details of this map. It's going to be called Maple Lodge Campsite. So it's going to be basically like your typical horror movie campsite scene that you would imagine from like uh the Freddy Krueger or the Jason movies and whatnot. It's going to feature, picnic areas, tents, a log cabin, and a lake. So again, very Jason-y.
Classic.
Yeah, which of course is haunted. It's going to be a medium-sized map, so it's not going to be as big as like the
Oh,
asylum
good.
or the school or anything like,
I
which is
actually
good because they
think,
are quite, yeah,
yeah,
they're
I think
excessive.
they're quite big.
Yeah, even a team like when we have a full team of 4, it's
Still
still
really
take like
big.
it takes forever just to find the room that
Yeah.
because you could think like the ghost could it doesn't have to inhabit a room either. It can inhabit like a spot of a hallway. It can inhabit a corner. It can inhabit a staircase. It can inhabit like there's a lot of different areas that it can sort of set itself up in. And then it can also move around. Like it doesn't just have to stay in that one room. It can be in a room in an area and you discover it. And then after a minute of it playing around with you, it goes, all right, peace out. I'm going to go to another room
Yeah.
now. And then you got to try and find it again. Like it just takes forever. So those large maps are quite excessive. They're some of my least favorite maps in the game, as much as
Same.
they are very like spooky and eerie because of the just like vast nothingness.
Yeah.
It is a bit much. So it's good that they're sort of focusing on more the medium sized and smaller maps. But yeah, it does have more unique objects and more object density. So like, it's not going to be as sparse. Like, there's not just going to be a big open area of nothing. There is going to be filled with quite a bit of stuff. They said they're increasing the visual detail in this map too, so it's probably going to look a lot better than some of the other ones. But having said that, they do state that it could impact performance depending on what sort of setup you have. So do be wary about this.
Hmm.
Um, there are four new ghost types on the way called the Onryo. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. The twins, which sound absolutely creepy. That's cool. I want to see the twins. The
Red
Obaki
rum.
and the Raiju. Oh, bro, that is. Oh my god, don't. Um, and then all of these four ghost types are going to have an increased chance of spawning during the Halloween event. So there are two like sort of dates that they're running an event between, which are going to sort of make the game extra spooky, I guess. Um, it's gonna be fun, gents.
Yeah, I think we need to
It's gonna be fun.
download this game again.
Yeah. I think I still have it installed from when we last played it.
Oh yeah.
But we're definitely jumping on this, I think, day one. When this new update hits. It's
I
gonna be
think
good
it's
fun.
out. I've seen some streamers
Um,
play it, so
oh really? Okay, it's already out. Great. All right. Well,
probably.
time to go get those updates fired up. Actually, you know what? I think you're right. I'm pretty sure I even updated it at lunchtime.
Oh really?
I think I did. Yeah. Um, a little bit more too. They have tweaked how some of the ghosts work, but all the ghosts are in out. They sort of tweaked what they can do because typically in the past they could only do a handful of things, like they could write in the book, they could communicate you through like the walkie talkie, all that sort of stuff. The ghosts can now interact with several showers in certain locations, so they can just jump in the shower and have a quick wash off if they're feeling a bit
Nice.
dirty. Very spooky. I like that. Ghosts will now disrupt electronic equipment whenever they are visible. So whenever one does actually spawn in and start like a hunt, um, all the electronic equipment that you have is going to start, failing.
Hmm.
Which I feel like is quite good because
I think
it does
so.
make it a bit spookier when you see this ghost for half a second and then your flashlight just starts to die,
Yeah.
and you're like, oh shit. It's great, and you can't communicate with your teammate obviously unless they're standing right next to you because the walkie talkies are going to start failing. So it's just going to sort of up the whole spook factor a fair bit. Um, this one is really cool too. Ghosts can now blow out ladders similar to candles. So obviously when you hold a lighter, you're like physically holding it in your hand. And if you have it lit and the ghost blows it out, that
Uh-huh.
means that it's right next to you. Like that is
That's
creepy
cool.
as shit. Um, it'd be real cool though too if like obviously because you hold the lighter, I think in your right hand in the game, if
Mm.
they had like directional audio so that like a little
Mm.
like gust of wind came from like your right earpiece, that would be like icing on the cake. I feel that would be so spooky. Um, a little bit more. Using the walkie-talkie will now also attract the ghost during hunts. So obviously, if they are sort of quite active, and you try to, hey, communicate with your friend, it might be over here and stuff like that. It's gonna start coming straight for you. Um, which is quite terrifying.
I think that's great.
It's real good. Yeah. Again, I think these are gonna be a lot more uh what's the word? They're gonna be like sort of a lot more active in the harder difficulties. Like obviously in the
Yeah.
the, the lower difficulties, you don't typically use the walkie-talkie as much because all of your friends can sort of be around you for a lot longer. But in the harder difficulties where you have to spread out a bit more, the walkie-talkie comes into a lot of a lot more of a role. So that's where it's gonna see the most effective sort of spooks, I guess. And a little bit more, the walkie-talkie will now only play static sounds when near the ghost. So it's again probably another little visual cue that they wanted to add in because they do sort of have like the EMF reader and a couple of other little sensors that work, but sometimes it might not always pick up the ghost
Mm.
because the ghost type might be might be able to counteract some of those things. So the static thing I think is going to be like a new tool that you can use to figure out exactly where the ghost might be in whatever place you're trying to cleanse, I guess.
Yeah.
Which is cool because more tools are always good. More tools are great. Um, but yeah, I would say keep your eyes peeled on Jen's stream because I feel like if this update is already out, we're definitely gonna be playing it over there at some point. So
For
yeah,
sure.
it'll be a good time. It'll be a good time. And now our last topic, Jens. This one I found right before starting recording, and I thought was quite interesting.
A bit shocking, but
I thought it was quite interesting. Yeah, a little bit interesting. Um, for those that don't know, Blizzard every year holds a convention called BlizzCon, as do most sort of large companies that can obviously afford to sort of put these things on. Um, but next year, I should say, 2022, BlizzCon no more, cancelled it.
mm.
It's not happening. Um, so for the past couple of years, it has been quite rocky for a lot of these companies, not just because of the like the lawsuit that's happening with Blizzard and Activision and stuff like that, but also because of COVID. So, in 2020 and 2021, they did cancel BlizzCon
Mm.
purely for COVID reasons. They couldn't hold it in person because it was, just unsafe to do so. And, they have canceled the 2022 one now, which is quite surprising, I thought, because, a lot of the world is opening up, and obviously North America, as we all know, has been open up for quite a while now. So you would have thought that they would have been able to hold some kind of event, uh, either in person or online. Um, but no, they've just scrapped it altogether. Which, yeah, is it because they just can't afford to put these things on now? Is it just because they don't want to? There's quite a large risk, I guess, in putting on a whole event and only 50% of the people that could show up showing up
Mm.
because they're quite either concerned for their health and safety because of COVID or something else. Or is it because of the fallout from the lawsuit?
Yeah, I mean, no one will know for sure, but
No, yeah,
I feel like the lawsuit being so fresh
yeah.
is just
I feel like it
good.
is that. I feel like it's that.
And maybe
Like,
in like relation to that, maybe their tickets won't be as good, like
yeah.
sales wise.
I mean, they still do have very dedicated fans. I
They
have seen
do.
online people are like, they don't really care about the lawsuit. People are saying, "Oh, I don't care. I'm still going to support Blizzard. I'm still going to support
Right.
Activision. I'm still going to play what which to each their own. That's fine and fair. But yeah, I feel like them canceling the 2022 one, is very much so because of you know
The
something regarding the
events,
lawsuit.
yeah.
Yeah. Not because of it directly, but like Jen said, probably because people are going to be like, well, wait a minute, they're a bit of a shitty company. I don't really want to go to their event. And then only, like I said, 50% of people turn up, you know,
Mm.
which is a huge loss because a lot of these events, I think I've heard in the past, it's quite tough to make a profit off some of these events, sometimes because you are cutting it so fine. Like you have to pay for vendors, you have to
Yep.
electricity, the hiring at the venue, and like it is very expensive. You have to get permits from the councils and stuff like that to have 50,000 people in an area at a time. You have to hire security. There are lots of expenses that go on with these things.
Mm.
And so to be cutting it fine on a return on investment is quite a risk. So it's, yeah, I feel like they're gonna play it safe, for lack of a better
Probably.
term.
Yeah.
And yeah, and that's why they're canceling. It'd be interesting to see that because in this article, Jens, it did say that they were like they made a little press statement thing on their website,
Mm-hmm.
and they were like, they'll be rethinking the future of BlizzCon for the
Interesting.
forthcoming years and stuff like that. So it's like, are they gonna totally scrap it altogether? Are they gonna make it some sort of smaller event? Are they gonna tweak it into like Nintendo Direct type things where they do like
Yeah.
three small little presentations that are very focused on one thing every year? There's a variety of things they could do. But yeah, I just thought, very interesting to tack on right at the end and be like,
Mm-hmm.
what a fun turn of events. What a fun turn of events. Um,
What a way to
but
end
yeah,
the news.
yeah. There wasn't too much this week in terms of
No.
news, so we did try and cover sort of as much as we can. Obviously, we are still in a lull, both emotionally and mentally, and in terms of Marvel content, we haven't been able to have any Marvel content for the past couple of weeks now. So we are just waiting for Eternals to hit our screens. And obviously, like we said a couple of weeks back, we're gonna wait till Shang-Chi hits Disney Plus before we talk about that because there are still a fair chunk of people that haven't been able to see it. So we're just patiently waiting. Patiently waiting. Have you bought tickets to Gens for Eternals yet? Are you guys excited for it?
I
Or
haven't for that.
okay.
I have for No Time to Die.
Wow, okay. See, I haven't bought tickets for either of them yet.
Oh, okay.
Because I'm not sure if our cinema was releasing them. I feel like they would be now because it is just like next week Eternals
It
comes
is
out.
very
So
soon, yeah.
um it's just around the corner. And then No Time to Die just after that too on like the 24th or something.
Mm.
I feel like I asked Emma, I was like, do you want to go to gold class for either No Time to Die or Spider-Man? And I can't decide which one
Ooh.
I want to go for. I feel like I would want to go to gold class for No Time to Die,
I think
you know,
that's
because
going to be the
it's,
better one.
you know, it's whoa,
No.
whoa,
In
whoa,
gold class.
whoa,
In gold class.
whoa. Yeah, but yeah, mainly because I feel like in Spider-Man, I'm gonna be jumping up out of my seat and screaming a lot, and I feel
Oh,
like
okay.
you know, people are
You
paying
can't
extra
really
to go to
do
gold
that.
class.
Yeah.
They don't want the crazy nerd that's jumping
No.
around in his seat, going, "Oh my god, this dog," you know. So yeah. It's also, you know, James Bond, I sort of feel like it fits the vibe a bit more. Like, James
I
Bond is
think
a classy
so.
guy. So, like, you know, we go to a classy cinema for that. Like,
Exactly.
it's, yeah.
Don't really want to be in a tux in
Oh,
the
don't tempt
normal.
me. Don't tempt me. Yeah. I'm just waiting now because everything's sort of slowly starting to open back up. I have been to a couple of like live symphonic performances
Oh
for
yeah.
like films and stuff like that. So I've been to Return of the Jedi for Star Wars, where they played with the Sydney Orchestra. They played the soundtrack of that, which is exceptional. And then I saw Skyfall, I think it
Yeah.
was. Yeah, I think I saw Skyfall with the same Sydney Orchestra, which was incredible. If you guys ever have the opportunity to go to any sort of event like that,
Oh, I'd
highly
love to.
recommended it.
That sounds great.
Oh my god, I feel like they tour it like not the Sydney Orchestra, but I feel like they obviously every state has their own like official orchestra. And I feel like they do tour it around because I feel like I've seen it in Queensland before and or Melbourne, like
Oh yeah, Melbourne
similar
probably
sorts of things.
does.
I'm not sure if Adelaide will get them because I don't know sort of what theater setups they might have, but it's for anyone that's listening, I do highly recommend it because it was such a good time. And the next time that I see James Bond being performed by the Sydney Orchestra, I am 100% getting a tux. Like I
Yeah.
wore a nice sort of dinner jacket last time, you know, because it's the Sydney Opera House too. So I was like, I'll dress up a little bit. But yeah, I feel like next time I'm going full tux. Like,
yeah, you have to.
I feel like it'd be rude not to.
Exactly.
You know? Like, yeah, I might Uber X there and like request request an Aston Martin too.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
You know, see if I can do that. Just pay $300 for an Uber from.
I'll be probably more than that.
From Central Station to the Opera House.
God.
It'll be more than that, yeah. But you know what? You got to do it. You got to do it for the vibe. You got to do it for the vibe.
Do it once.
Yeah, exactly. Before we wrap up the Jens, was there anything else that you wanted to add?
No, from me.
Yeah, no, nothing from me either. You know, as always, thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for watching, and we will talk to you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.